Welcome to another math lesson, 5th graders. It's I, Professor Pandemic, fresh out of the attic and back in school to teach you about estimating factors to find a product. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about how to estimate decimals in order to come up with an estimate for your product. So here we have two numbers, 76 and 3/10, multiplied by 7 and 8/10. Unless told otherwise, we're always going to estimate to the nearest whole number, otherwise known as the ones place, otherwise known as the first number to the left of the decimal. So, we estimate each of the two factors in this problem. So 7 and 8/10, 8 rounds up, so the 7 becomes an 8. Remember, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are our numbers that round up. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are our numbers that stay the same. In 76 and 3/10, this 3 tells us to keep the number the same, which means 76 stays the same, which is why we have 76. So our estimate for these two numbers will be 76 times 8. Now we multiply. So we take the 76 and multiply it by 8. We always multiply vertically. Don't try to multiply horizontally or in your head. That'll just lead to confusion. And when we multiply 76 times 8, we get an answer of 608. And this is our estimate for 76 and 3/10 times 7 and 8/10. Estimate means when we check our work or when we complete the problem, our estimate should be close to what the actual answer is. This is something that you should be able to do very quickly. An estimate is quick. You should not take longer to estimate than it would be to solve the actual problem. If it takes you longer to estimate than it would to solve the problem, then just solve the problem. Estimating is supposed to help you understand or kind of see if you're close to an answer or not. That's why we estimate. So let's do a couple of these estimating factors to find a product on our own. For our first problem today, 5th graders, we have 46 and 37/100 times 9 and 43/100. Make sure you estimate both factors and then multiply your estimates together to come up with your answer. We'll check in a minute to see how you did. Hopefully you came up with an answer of 414 for this problem. Let's walk through it and see if you didn't get that, where you might have made your mistake. 46 and 37/100, that 3 tells us to keep it the same, so we stay at 46. 9 and 43/100, this 4 tells us also to stay the same, so our estimates are 46 and 9, and when we multiply those together, you should get 414. Let's try another problem. All right, for our second problem, we have 63 and 98/100 multiplied by 7 and 34/100. Try it out, write your answers in the chat when you have them, and let's see if you get this one correct. Hopefully, friends, you ended up with an answer of 448 for your product. Again, 63 and 98/100 rounds that number up to 64. 7 and 34/100, that 3 keeps our number the same, so we stay with 7. Then we just multiply our two estimates together, 64 times 7, and we get an answer of 448. Let's step up the math and try some more complicated double-digit problems. For our next problem, we've upped the decimals and upped the multiplication when you estimate, but let's see how we do. We have 32 and 64/100 times 17 and 83/100. Estimate and find your product. Mathematicians, your product should have been not 594. Let's see if you made a mistake somewhere where you might have made it. 32 and 64/100, that 6 rounds up to 33. 17 and 83/100, that 8 rounds up, so the 17 becomes an 18. Then we have to multiply 33 times 18. My first line should have been 264. My second line should have been 330. It might have been a little different if you had the 18 on top, but either way, your answer should have been 594 when you added everything together. Let's do one more problem just like this. We have 47 and 86/100 times 39 and 14/100. Do your best math and estimating, and let's see what you come up with for a product. Well, mathematicians, if you came up with the right answer, you should have had a product of 1,872. Again, our estimates for 47 and 8600s was 48. 39 and 1400s was 39. You just multiply those together. And when you add everything up after you multiply, you get an answer of 1872. So, we're going to do 2 more problems. Now we'll have 3 different numbers that we're going to estimate and multiply together. Just stepping it up just a tad little bit. Let's see how we do. Now, friends, we have 3 different factors here that we have to estimate. So now instead of estimating 2 times, we're estimating 3 times. But then you still are going to find the product the exact same way by multiplying. So take a second and let's see if you can figure it out. Should have ended up with 140 for your answer, friends. Let's take a look at it. 6 and 7300s rounded to 7. 4 and 9500s rounded to 5. And 3 and 5/10 rounded to 4. Now, the commutative property tells us we can multiply these in whatever order we want. If you went in order of the problem, you would have had 7 times 5 equals 35, and then multiplied by 4 equals 140. But my mind likes to look for things that has zeros or ends in tens. So that's why I might start with 5 times 4. Because 5 times 4 gives us 20. And 20 times 7 might be easier for you to do to get that 140. Either way, you're still going to end up with the same answer if you multiply correctly. But it might be easier if you find a pattern or a fact that you know to go really quick and then multiply that second number with it. So it kind of gives you a little choice when you have more than 2 factors in a problem. Let's do one more for this activity. Our last problem for today's lesson, friends, is 7 and 8300ths times 2 and 4600ths times 11 and 8600ths. Estimate and then find the product. 192 should have been our answer for this one, friends, so let's take a quick look at it. 7 and 8300ths rounds to 8, 2 and 4600ths rounds to 2, and 11 and 8600ths rounds to 12. Now here's a perfect example of why I'm talking about the commutative property and maybe doing the multiplying in a different order. Because see here, if you multiplied 8 times 2 first, you would get 16. And then you'd have to do 16 times 12, which is a double-digit multiplication problem, which is fine. You could come up with 192 doing this. But if you did 2 times 12 first, that gets you 24. Then you could multiply 24 times 8, which is just a 2-by-1 multiplication problem, which is a lot nicer and a lot less work than having to do a double-digit one. So finding the right pattern, friends, might actually make the math easier. So always look for that nice pattern. It'll save you some time with these problems. So this was being able to estimate factors to find a product. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Your teacher may do some more examples. If you need more help, ask your teacher, come to a study hall, or you can come find me. As for me, I'm Professor Pandemic, and the more you learn, the more you know. Have a great day, friends, and we'll see you at the next math lesson.